Hey there, my name is Arije. I'm a dyslexic in the field of education studies, and in this video I would like to tell you 5 things about intelligence that you should know, especially if you're a dyslexic. Intelligence can be seen as the ability to acquire and apply skills. However, there's a lot more to it, and I won't be able to get into all these details. So what I decided is to choose those 5 things that are most important to me, and I'm sure that they will help you as well. So let's get into it. The first thing that I would like to tell you is that if we were just unintelligent, we would not even qualify as dyslexic. And this is due to the way that dyslexia is defined. And in order to look up this definition, we're going to go to the DSM, the Diagnostic Statistical Manual for Mental Disorders. And this is the most prominent manual out there on this kind of issue. So let's have a look what they wrote there. So here we can see that it is seen as a specific learning disorder. So already indicating that you don't have a general problem, you have a very specific problem. If you go even deeper into it, you will read the following. The learning difficulties cannot be accounted for by intellectual difficulties. Meaning, if you're just not that intelligent, you don't qualify. I would also like to tell you that there are different types of intelligences, because all too often we make the mistake of thinking that it's all just about IQ, when in fact there are really a bunch of different types. And one of them is emotional intelligence. That's a little more known, but then you also have something like nonverbal intelligence. And if we were to ask Howard Gardner from the University of Harvard, he would tell us that there are 8 distinct types of intelligences. And that just means that there are a bunch of different ways in which people can be smart. And one of his main complaints is that only 2 of them are measured within school, which is logical mathematical intelligence and verbal linguistical intelligence. The next thing that I would like to tell you is that dyslexics can be seen as twice exceptional when it comes to their intelligence. And I'm going to explain to you what I mean by that by using this research article. In this study, they looked at verbal and nonverbal intelligence. And what they found was that the nonverbal intelligence was significantly higher and the verbal intelligence was significantly lower than the control group. So the interesting thing about dyslexics is that their intelligence is not very evenly distributed. They're brilliant in one area and they're really struggling in another area. And this is not the case for non-dyslexics. They are more even across the board. And that's why we are also called twice exceptional, for the way we struggle and the way we thrive. Another thing that I would like to point out is that it's quite hard to measure intelligence, especially among dyslexics, because we have to deal with biases. There's this notion out there that the dyslexics are not that intelligent, and that will influence test results. That will influence the way dyslexics are graded. And then we also have stereotype threat. So these same depictions of dyslexics will also influence dyslexics themselves, and they will negatively impact their performance. I would also like to tell you that intelligence is often seen way too static. You either have it or you don't. And in reality, it's something that develops. In order to get brilliant, you need to put a lot of work into it. And if you're interested in that kind of mindset, then look up growth versus fixed mindset. So I just told you 5 things about intelligence that I believe are good to know. First, you wouldn't qualify as a dyslexic if you were unintelligent. Second, there are multiple different types of intelligence and only 2 of them are generally measured in school. Dyslexics can be seen as twice exceptional, which means that they're really struggling in one area, but they're also above average in another area. In this case, I showed you the example of nonverbal intelligence. Then important to know is also that it's really hard to measure intelligence in general with things like creativity, but especially if you're measuring the intelligence of dyslexics, we have to do with biases that influence the test results. And lastly, we all should be aware of the fact that to become brilliant in a certain area, you need to put in a lot of work, and your intelligence develops over time. Okay, that's it. Let me know in the comments below what you thought about it, and see you in the next video.